Welcome back, everybody. These are the best horror films for the year 2010. We're winding down the 2010 decade. We just covered 2000 to 2010. This is the final year of 2010, and these are the best horror films that came out that year. You're here at Yesteryear TV. Let's get started. 2001 Maniacs, Field of Screams. The barbecue party continues. Mayor Buckman and his Confederate cannibals are on a prowl again. Now don't take a wrong turn. 2001 Maniacs will not disappoint. A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. The specter of a disfigured man haunts the children of the parents who murdered him, stalking and killing them in their dreams. A Nightmare on Elm Street. I like this remake. It's really good. Alice in Murderland. It's Alice's birthday, and her sorority girlfriends throw her a themed party. Everyone comes as their favorite sexy character from Wonderland. Horror thriller Alice in Murderland. Altitude. After a mysterious malfunction sends their small plane climbing out of control, a rookie pilot and her 4 teenage friends find themselves trapped in a deadly showdown with a supernatural force. American Screen King. When 2 guys get a hold of a camera from a debt, they decide to make a horror movie since most of them are cheesy and cheap anyways. Comedy and horror. American Screen King. Remember Scream Queen? Screen King. Amphibious Creature of the Deep. At the beginning, the uncle sends Tamal out to get the power. TA monster impregnates Tamal. At the end of the movie, baby creatures are pouring out of the womb. Amphibious Creatures of the Deep. And soon the darkness. A couple of American girls on a bike trip in a remote part of Argentina split, and one goes missing. The other must find her before her worst fears are realized. Astro Zombies M3. Cloned. Demented mutants return with one objective in mind. Kill. 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 Atomic Brain Invasion. A bunch of misfit high schoolers must band together to stop an army of brain creatures from outer space that intend to kidnap Elvis Presley. Body horror, and sci-fi. Atomic Brain Invasion. Attack of the Vegan Zombies. Joe and his wife Dion have had yet another bad crop for the winery. Faced with the prospect of losing the family farm, Dion convinces her mother, a witch, to cast a spell. Bear. 2 young couples are trapped in a car with a grizzly bear attacking them. As they battle the creature and contemplate their uncertain fate, secrets begin to emerge that begin to tear the group apart before the bear. So I guess they're true confessions. Beating Hearts, a sickening twist on the killer child subgenre. Beating Hearts. Horror. Beg. Jack Fox, a burnout detective, is being forced into early retirement as the worst serial killer since the Boston Strangler begins killing spree through the streets of Salem. Horror. Beg. Bereavement. The horrific account of 6-year-old Martin Bristol, abducted from his backyard swing and forced to witness the brutal crimes of a deranged madman. Beware. The town of Shady Grove holds many dark secrets. Amongst those secrets is a sadistic tale of Shane, a boy who was tortured and chained to a tree as a youngster. Beware. Beyond the Black Rainbow. In 1983, a young woman with psychic abilities is held captive within the Arborea Institute, a secluded futuristic facility run by a sinister doctor with an unraveling mind and a growing obsession. Bikini Frankenstein. Parody, comedy, horror. Convinced that the average male couldn't tell the difference between a living woman and a corpse, The nefarious Dr. Frankenstein creates an undead sex kitten named Eva. Black Death. Set during time of the first outbreak of bubonic plague in England, a young monk is given the task of learning the truth about reports of people being brought back to life in a small village. Black Rat. 6 classmates receive an email from Asuka, who supposedly committed suicide. Slasher, horror, drama, and horror. Black Rat. Star Vehicle. Star Vehicle follows the downward spiral of a movie driver, Donald, a self-professed movie buff with a penchant for explosive violence. Star Vehicle horror. Blood Junkie, a hyper-hipster 1980s horror comedy about a group of teenagers that discover a mysterious abandoned building where bad things happen. Adventure, comedy, and horror. Blood Junkie. Bloodbath and the House of Knives. Deceit, long-kept secrets, and grisly murder surrounded in mystery. All this and more can be found in Bloodbath and the House of Knives. Action, drama, horror, and mystery. Boggy Creek. Following the death of her father in a terrible accident, sweet yet troubled Jennifer and her friends decide to check out her dad's cabin that's located in the deep woods of Boggy Creek. Breadcrumbs. A group of porn filmmakers are systematically attacked by 2 children on the set of a remote shoot. Slasher, horror, horror, and thriller. Breadcrumbs. We love breadcrumbs. Broken Springs. 3 teenage boys have the world turned upside down by tainted moonshine. They must rescue their loved ones and battle a marauding horde of zombies. Broken Springs. Burning Bright. A thriller centered on a young woman and her autistic little brother who are trapped in a house with a ravenous tiger during a hurricane. Burning Bright. Camp Hell. Evil invades a children's spiritual retreat. Camp Hell. Slasher, horror, supernatural horror thriller. Next up we have is Carnies. There were 1,000 sideshows playing small towns in 1936, but within days several of them would be dead, ripped apart by inhuman force, souls stolen. Horror thriller. Carnies. Chain Letter. A maniac murders teens when they refuse to forward chainmail. I love movies like this. Slasher horror, splatter horror. Chain Letter. Cherry Tree Lane. A couple is terrorized by a gang who is hunting their son. Horror and thriller. Your worst fears have come home. Cherry Tree Lane. Choose. A journalism student tracks a killer with the help of her detective father and a therapist. Serial killer, crime, drama, and horror. He makes the rules. You make the choice. Christopher Roth. A horror novelist begins to fear his stories may have a life of their own. Maybe you should get a life of your own before it's too late. Chuckles Revenge. Chuckles Revenge. A clown is assaulted by women at a party and returns 1 year later to take revenge. Trying to save the girls from the killer clown in this interactive movie. Chuckles Revenge. Carnival of Fear closed for the season. Trapped in a forgotten amusement park, a young woman finds herself terrorized by the living memories of the park. Carnival of Fear, or closed for the season. Cold Sweat. A young man in search of his missing ex-girlfriend. An unconditional friend willing to do anything to discover the truth. An investigation culminating in an old house. Inside, 2 brutal killers await them. Cold Prey 3 takes place in the 80s, where a group of teenagers go to visit an abandoned hotel, only to find themselves hunted by a psychotic killer through the Norwegian woods. Cold Prey 3. The Corridor. Friends on a weekend excursion take a path in a forest that leads to death and destruction. The Corridor. The Crazies. After a strange and insecure plane crash, an unusual toxic virus enters a quaint farming town. A young couple are quarantined, but they fight for survival, along with help from a couple of people. The Crazies. Cut. 5 friends return from a cocktail party to a cottage deep inside the English woods, having brushed off the notion of urban legends as rubbish, never occurring in reality. One by one, people die. Cyrus. John and Molly, a divorced middle-aged man and a single mother, meet at a friend's party and start up a small relationship. Comedy, drama, romance, and horror. Cyrus. Dahmer versus Gacy. We love John Gacy. We love John Gacy. A secret government has been trying to create the ultimate killer using DNA of infamous killers Jeffrey Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy. Comedy and horror. Dark Relic. The Holy Land. 1099 AD. The end of the First Crusade. When the conflict began, Christian knight Sir Gregory led over 100 men, but now, one by one, people die. Dark Souls. A revengeful father embarks on a dark thrill ride of lost memories, conspiracy, and zombie-like symptoms. Finding the mysterious darkness within is the source of the bizarre world he has uncovered. Cowboys versus Vampires. Dead West, or Rise of the Horror Genre and the Fall of the Western. The story of a Western movie actor still trying to make it big in a Western film studio and theme park. Dead Cert. A gang of London gangsters get more than they bargained for when a group of businessmen make an offer to buy their club. They turn out to be vampires who want their land back. Maybe you should get a life of your own before it's too late. Deadfall Trail. The tough, no-nonsense Julian and his more laid-back friend John are a couple of veteran campers who decide to embark on a no-frills expedition into the deep Arizona wilderness. Horror and thriller. Deadly Renovations. When a small house flipping group discovers that their hotel project may contain millions of cash hidden somewhere, the project turns deadly. So can you imagine that? They're killing for money. Death Game Park. Death Game Park is an action thriller reminiscent of Battle Royale. A group of young adults have been forced to participate in a game of death. Action, sci-fi, thriller, and horror. Death Kappa. Scientists create amphibious super soldiers and detonate a nuclear bomb. In the midst of the fallout, a monster arrives, leaving Japan defenseless. Death Kappa. Death Tube. Broadcast murder show. A young man gets hooked on a website called DeathTube, which broadcasts actual murders in real time. At first, he doesn't believe it's real until he is brought into the site himself. The killing game is about to begin. The Defiled. In a post-apocalyptic world, science and technology have backfired, leaving unfathomable destruction and diseased planet is in its wake. Demonic Toys, Personal Demons. A group of people on a worldwide search for oddities find themselves trapped in a 900-year-old Italian castle when they accidentally unleash the demonic toys. We love it. Detention. As a copycat killer named after a movie villain, Cinderella stalks the student body at Grizzly Lake High School. A group of co-eds band together to survive while serving detention. Devil. We love Devil. I just saw that again. A group of people are trapped in an elevator and the devil is mysteriously amongst them. I love Devil. The Devil. We love it. Remember Seinfeld? We are the devils. The devils. Devil's Bridge. Sean takes his two friends into the rural wilds of Wales in search of an underworld specialist who can illegally revive his failing business. Horror and thriller. A British Deliverance. Devil's Playground. London-based NGen tests a performance booster on 3000. A month later, agile zombies plague London. Action horror Devil's Playground. Still, an omnibus film of 4 stories pulled straight from Thailand's most gruesome headlines. In Flame, a man is haunted by regret and a ghost after he survives a nightclub fire. Still, Dino Shark. A baby dino shark evolves into a ferocious predatory adult, terrorizing tourists and locals offshore from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Dino Shark. We love Dino Shark. Diagnosis: death. 2 people meet as guinea pigs in a weekend drug trial. Andre and Juliet soon discover their lives are in more danger than they imagined. This is what happens when you become guinea pigs for cash. Do Not Disturb. 1 guy, 1 girl, and a secret destined to destroy them both. Drama and horror. Made for TV. Next up we have is Don't Go Into the Woods. A young band heads to the woods in order to focus on writing new songs, hoping to emerge with new music that will score them their big break. Horror musical, Don't Go Into the Woods. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. A young girl sent to live with her father and his new girlfriend believes that she has released creatures from a sealed ash pit in the basement of her new home. Supernatural horror, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Doomsday Country. In a town overrun with zombies, vampires, and a melting mad scientist with plans for an impending alien invasion. Doomsday County. Paranormal Entity. Prepare to see what is allegedly the actual footage of the supernatural events leading up to the 2008 murder of Samantha Finley. B-horror found footage horror. Paranormal Activity. Eyes in the Dark. Secret video. Flies just discovered on an FBI server prove that the government has been hiding unexplained disappearances and a dangerous presence in the Pacific Northwest wilderness. The Final Storm. A blood-red moon, dying animals, and torrential rain are just some of the catastrophes that are wreaking havoc. Disaster action horror thriller featuring the late Luke Perry. Freeway Killer. The true story of William Bonin, a California serial killer. Freeway Killer. We love Freeway Killer. We love it. Ghosts don't exist. A ghost hunter, final case before retiring, leads him down a dark and potentially deadly path. So he takes on one more case, which may be his last. Goblin. Every Halloween, a small hamlet in the deep woods is visited by a fierce goblin, intent on capturing infants and brutally murdering anyone in its path. Goblin. We love Goblin. Growth. 20 years after a deadly outbreak of parasites at an island research facility where most of the people were killed, survivor Jamie returns with her friends to sell her steak. Growth. Half Moon. When down on her luck, prostitute hooker slut Rose goes to a hotel to meet a man who seems like the perfect guy. Things soon change, and she suspects he could be the killer. Half Moon. Hard Ride to Hell. A group of family and friends on a camping trip through the Texas Badlands are taken on a one-way ride to hell after they inadvertently witness a ritual sacrifice. Hard Ride to Hell. Hatchet 2. Mary Beth escapes the clutches of the Bayou Butcher, Victor Crowley, and returns to the swamp with an army of hunters and gunmen determined to end Crowley's reign. Hatchet 2. We love the hatchets. We love it. Hide and Go Kill 2. A deadly game of online hide and seek puts a young woman's life in danger. Maybe you should get a life of your own before it's too late. I love that quote. That was from 90210, Beverly Hills 90210. Hiss. Based on the Far Eastern myth of the snake woman who is able to take on a human form. Hiss. So she's a snake taking on a human form, killing people. Horny House of Horror. Japanese horror parody film about 3 men who visit a brothel, unaware that the prostitutes plan to sexually torture them instead of providing services. So they want sex, but they're going to be tortured to death. Hypothermia. 2 families' idyllic ice fishing vacation turns deadly when they awaken a creature beneath the frozen lake, forcing them to rely on each other if they want to make it safely back to land. Hypothermia. I didn't come here to die. The story of 6 young volunteers working on a humanitarian project in the woods. Horrific accidents, rash decisions, and unpredictability of human nature. One by one they die. I Kissed a Vampire. A desperate teen tries to save himself and the girl he loves after discovering he's transforming into a vampire. I Kissed a Vampire. I Saw the Devil. A secret agent exacts revenge on a serial killer through a series of captures and releases. I Saw the Devil. Psychological thriller and horror. I Spit on Your Grave. A writer who was brutalized during her cabin retreat seeks revenge on her attackers who left her for dead. I Spit on Your Grave. I'm Not Jesus, Mommy. I'm Not Jesus, Mommy. Kimberly would stop at nothing to have her child of her own. After recovering from cancer, her possibilities seem slim. Then she has a child who kills people. I'm Not Jesus, Mommy. Insane. A lonely hotel, but a lonely road. Sarah is lost, looking for somewhere to sleep. She comes to the wrong place, at the wrong time, at the wrong hotel. Insane. Insidious. A family looks to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in a realm called the Further. Supernatural horror. Insidious. We love Insidious. And Insidious 2. And Insidious 3. Jack Chop. Adam Green's annual Halloween short film spoofs television's infamous Slap Chop commercial with an accident-prone Bostonian selling a jack-o'-lantern carving kit. Jack Chop. Jessica Rabbit. Marley and Brad Hoffman are a couple of vile white trash who treat their mute, mentally stunted cousin, Jessica, like a pet. Soon, Jessica gets revenge and starts killing people. Mysterious Island. March 1865. A group of Union soldiers escaped from the Confederate hands in a balloon, accompanied by their former Confederate captor. Mysterious Island. Kill Katie Malone. 3 college friends pool their cash to buy a ghost in an online auction. They think it's a goof, but it just might be real. In that they're buying the ghost, but it's a real ghost. Killjoy 3. The demon clown Killjoy is resurrected once again, but this time he is out for revenge. Killjoy, comedy, fantasy, and horror and thriller. Killjoy 3. Last Caress. Intent on spending a weekend of partying, 5 friends visit an empty old mansion, completely unaware of the ancient evil that lurks. I love how it's always a group of friends, into the woods, into a cabin, all that stuff. Legion. When a group of strangers at a dusty roadside diner come under attack by demonic forces, their only chance for survival lies with an archangel named Michael, who informs a pregnant waitress that her unborn child is humanity's last hope. We love it. I know it's a good movie. 7 Days. A doctor seeks revenge by kidnapping, torturing, and killing the man who raped and murdered his young daughter. I love it. 7 days. That's how it should be. Torture and rape. Let Me In. A bullied young boy befriends a young female vampire who lives in secrecy with her guardian. Let Me In. I love little vampire Draculas. Madness. Two cheerleaders hitchhike with two handsome boys, but soon they are captured by a family of violent Swedes. This was straight to video. Wrong direction, crazy guys, ruthless rage, cheerleaders. Mandrake. An expedition led by adventurer McCall and funded by the wealthy Harry Vargas braves the impenetrable jungle to retrieve a fabled bejeweled dagger. Mandrake. Mask Maker. When a young, deformed boy witnesses his mother's death, he comes back to take revenge on anyone who dares enter his property. I love these revenge movies. When they die and they come back, ooh, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Meadowwoods. In a sleepy and uneventful small town, 3 college students, bored and desperate to make their mark, plot a savage and merciless murder. Meadowwoods. So basically they want to be infamous. Mega Piranha. A mutant strain of giant ferocious piranha escape from the Amazon and eat their way towards Florida. I love it. They escape. So something happens, someone fails to unlock something. So there was Mega Piranha, now we got Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. These are straight to video. A megalodon battles with a Crocosaurus, causing massive destruction. The U.S. Army has to try and destroy the havoc-creating monsters. Mongolian Deathworm. When an American oil company sets up an experimental drilling plant at a vast deserts of Mongolia, they awaken a nest. This is like the 50s, those 50s and early 60s monster movies. Those cheesy movies from Japan. Monster Wolf. A group of people who represent an oil company find new ground to drill for oil, but accidentally unleash a wolf-like creature. I love this. This was straight to TV. I love this movie. I love it. Morning Wood. The unveiling of Dr. Jacob's new product becomes a blistering catastrophe when it transforms the Slutton residents into humping zombies. Morning Wood. Mother's Day. The sadistic members of a villainous family return to their childhood home to terrorize the new homeowners and their guests. Mother's Day. Jason, Mother is speaking to you. Mothman. A group of friends band together to hide the truth about a mutual friend's tragic death. They soon discover that an evil entity is in pursuit of them. I love Mothman. This was straight to TV. Horror. Mr. Hush. How does a man react when he loses everything he loves? Mr. Hush has an answer. With brutal, terrifying violence. Mr. Hush. Mutant Land. As the sun goes down in the dark and terrifying Mutant Land, hunters are lured into a forbidden zone in their quest for food, only to find themselves candidates for their main course. Mutant Land. Mutant vampires, zombies from the hood. In the wake of solar flare of unusual properties, a mismatched group of inner-city survivors must put aside their animosity to escape the Los Angeles zombies. My babysitter is a vampire. A teenager discovers the girl hired to look after his little sister is a vampire. Adventure, comedy, crime, horror, and thriller. This was straight to TV. My Super Psycho Sweet 16 Part 2. Following the murders of the roller derm, Skyrotter leaves town in search of a normal life. Reunited with the mother of an abandoned girl, Sky's dream of a happier life begins as a killing spree. My Soul to Take. A serial killer returns to his hometown to stalk 7 children who share the same birthday as the date he was allegedly put to rest. My Soul to Take. Necronos. reincarnated on this earth with the intention of obliterating all of mankind by creating an invincible army of undead legions. Necronos. Necronos. Needle. A killer uses an 18th century machine with supernatural powers to terrorize students at a college. Slasher horror Needle. Neo Wolf. Two college lovers face an ancient evil when a strange rock band comes to town. Neo Wolf. Alright. Night of the Living Heads. Night of the Living Heads. Creatures come out at night and terrorize a small town. Who will survive? The undead. Night Wolf. Sarah Tyler returns to her troubled family home in this isolated countryside for a much put-off visit. As a storm rages outside, soon a horrible creature presents itself. Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley is a hosted horror anthology movie with your host, Scarlet Fry. Creative. Terror begins where the sidewalk ends. We love it. We love it. Nixon and Hogan Smoke Christmas. Strangeville's famous stoner set out to help Santa finish his Christmas deliveries after he accidentally smokes some Yuletide zombie weed. So now you got a Santa Claus turning into a zombie. Upstandelson. Upstandelson brings the zombie apocalypse into the house of God. Upstandelson. Zombie exorcism. An evil that won't stay dead. Parade of the Dead. In 2010, a virus spread throughout the world's population, turning the survivors into mindless zombies. Around the same time of these apocalyptic events, the Hilltop Hoods were due to make a DVD of their album. Paranormal Proof. 14 months after the death of his wife, Marcus Gates and his two daughters began experiencing strange occurrences around their home. Paranormal Proof. You will believe. Paranormal Activity 2. After experiencing what they think are a series of break-ins, a family sets up security cameras around their home, only to realize that the events unfolding before them are more sinister than they seem. Phobos Club Straka. Rainy summer evening, young people are arriving at the newly trendy club named Phobos, which is still under construction. One by one, people start to die. Phobos. Pickman's Muse. An artist, Robert Pickman, becomes obsessed by visions of unworldly horror revealed to him through an ancient artifact discovered in an abandoned church. Pickman's Muse. Pig. The day in the life of a psychotic hillbilly and his captives, innocent people he has taken prisoner to indulge his violent fantasies. Pig. Horror. Piranha 3D. I love this movie. It's a fun movie. Featuring Jerry O'Connell. After a sudden underwater tremor sets free scores of the prehistoric man-eating fish, an unlikely group of strangers must band together to stop them from spreading. Pork Chop. A group of campers are stalked by a deranged redneck with a pig mask. Pork Chop. It's still not safe to go back into the woods. See, they stole that from Jaws. President's Day. A high school election turns deadly when a homicidal maniac dressed as Abe Lincoln starts killing off candidates. President's Day. So if you're running for election, you're gonna die. Primal. A group of friends travel into the Australian wilds to view ancient cave paintings, but soon find a horrible sickness gripping one of their own. Primal is sensational. Psycho Gothic Lolita. After her mother is murdered, a girl dresses to kill as a Gothic Lolita. Action and horror. Puppet Master, Axis of Evil. During the Second World War, a young man, with the help of some animated puppets, must stop the Nazis who attack his family and kidnap his girlfriend. Puppet Master. Red Balloon. Much to the babysitter's surprise, a little girl who is upstairs in her room is having persistent, unnerving nightmares. Could it be the storm outside, or does a sinister reason lurk inside the house? Resident Evil Afterlife. While still out to destroy the evil Umbrella Corporation, Alice joins a group of survivors living in a prison surrounded by the infected. Resident Evil Afterlife. Roadkill. A group of teenagers are menaced by a driverless train in the Australian outback. I love this movie, it was good. Roadkill. Or Road Train. Rubber. A homicidal car tire, discovering it has destructive psionic power, sets its sight on a desert town once mysterious woman becomes its obsession. Rubber. Satan Hates You. Inspired from the golden age of religious cinema, Satan Hates You is a graphic horror film. God Loves You, Satan Hates You. Saw 3D. As a deadly battle rages over Jigsaw's brutal legacy, a group of Jigsaw survivors gather to seek the support of self-help guru and fellow survivor Bobby Dagan. Saw 3D. Secrets in the Walls. A mother and her two teenage daughters move into an ancient house in a suburb of Detroit when it is offered at very low price. Secrets in the Walls, made for TV. Cela Dulcia. A paralyzed soldier returns from war to his family in the worst shape than anyone at home could imagine. Cela Dulcica. Horror and thriller. The Voice. Daria is a young girl who works at the call center of a bank and lives with her mother. Daria's life is turning upside down when one by one people around her start to die. Sharktopus. A half shark, half octopus creature created for the military creates a whole lot of terror in Mexico. Parody action horror comedy adventure. Sharktopus. Shelter. This is the story of a family and two intruders. Comedy, drama, and horror. Shelter. A story of a family with two intruders. Sheltered. Awkward but friendly and handsome bartender Joey allows a group of vacationers to seek refuge in his house on the eve of a big storm. One by one, people start to die. Sheltered. Siren. Strange goings-on ensue when a few friends on a sailboat find an island with a beautiful lone female inhabitant. Siren. Horror and thriller. Siren. Slices of life. Sexual parasites, disembowelment, zombies, serial killers, demon children, violent vixens, rabid office workers, and angry embryos. Slices of life. Slime City Massacre. Slime creatures emerging from contaminated food attack NYC homeless seeking refuge, while mercenaries hired by a greedy developer aim to eliminate them. Slime City Massacre. Slow Torture Puke Chamber. The final in the trilogy, a bulimic prostitute hooker slut talks about her deranged childhood while being sexually tortured. Slow Torture Puke Chamber. Snub. SNUB. A junior minister in the British government discovers a terrorist plot to detonate a nuclear device in London. Horror and thriller. Maybe you should get a life of your own before it's too late. State Land. In a world of vampires, an expert vampire hunter and his young protege travel toward sanctuary. Vampire horror, Stakeland, vampires. State of emergency. Chemical facility explosion releases toxin causing town residents to mutate into flesh-eating zombies. State of emergency. The best zombie film of 2010. Stranded. A platoon of French soldiers on a rescue mission in North Africa confront invisible evil creatures. Can you imagine that? How do you win against invisible creatures? Suicide Girls Must Die. When 12 new models for the infamous SuicideGirls.com begin disappearing from a remote cabin, the calendar video they are shooting becomes the first reality horror movie. Suicide Girls Must Die. Super Hybrid. Late one night, a mysterious car is brought into the Chicago police impound garage after a deadly traffic accident. Super Hybrid. Most cars run on fuel. This one runs on blood. Symphony in Bloody Red. Symphony in Bloody Red is an Italian giallo, a horror film inspired by the work of Dario Argento. Symphony in Blood Red will not disappoint. The Taint. The water is tainted. The taint poisons the minds of men and turns them into raging misogynists. Dark comedy, action comedy, horror, and thriller. The Taint. The Terror Experiment. A terrorist sets off an explosion that rocks the federal building and unleashes a toxic gas throughout the ventilation system. The Terror Experiment. Action, horror, and thriller. Terror Trap. While driving in a strange couple's car is hit twice. A sheriff takes them to a motel where they hear disturbing noises from a room. Terror Trap. The Afflicted. A story of incomprehensible abuse delivered by an explosively violent mother of 4. Found footage. The Afflicted. Featuring Kane Hodder. We love Kane Hodder. We love Kane Hodder. The anniversary of Shallow Creek. 6 best friends find themselves at the wrong place at the wrong time. They fight for their lives against a serial killer who has more in store for them than death. Can you imagine being tortured? You want to wish for death. Ugh. The Awakening. In 1921, England is overwhelmed by the loss and grief of World War I. Hoax exposer Florence Cathark visits a boarding school to explain sightings of a child ghost. The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. A Californian family inherits a castle in Romania. This is especially exciting to the son, who is obsessed with monsters, and he is not disappointed. Romania, Dracula, Transylvania. The Bunny Game. A prostitute hooker slut, looking for her next meal, hitches a ride with a trucker that leaves her praying for her next breath. The Bunny Game. The Child's Eye. A group of friends find themselves stranded in an old hotel, old mansion, old dwelling. As they uncover the history beneath the walls, they're slowly drawn into its sinister past, and one by one, they die. The Dark Lurking. The 8 remaining survivors of a secret research facility barricade themselves away from a horde of ancient and deadly creatures. The Dark Lurking. Action, horror, and sci-fi. The Dead Undead. Good vampires battle with zombies while trying to hide their own identity and prevent the infection from spreading. So good vampires battle zombie vampires. The Dead Undead. The Dunwich Horror. It's not witch, it's wick. The story of Wilbur Wheatley and his attempt to bring into this world a vast, earth-threatening entity. The Dunwich Horror. The Final Storm, featuring the legendary Luke Perry. A blood-red moon, dying animals, and torrential rain are just some of the catastrophes that are wreaking havoc on the world on a global scale. The Final Storm. The Voldemort Legacy 2, The Forbidden Shadow. Second part of the Baltimore saga, Anna and Eduardo are sent to assist in the investigation of the disappearance of Luisa. The Prometheus Project, Frankenstein Syndrome. A group of researchers conducting illegal stem cell research discover a cell anomaly that has the potential to regenerate dead tissue. The gruesome death of Tommy Pistol. The gruesome death of Tommy Pistol follows the disappointing life of struggling actor Tommy P. It's great to see you again. The gruesome death of Tommy Pistol. The last employee. Lawyer David, after a year-long absence, has been hired by a new firm to act as its liquidator, as the company is deemed unprofitable. One by one, people start to die. The last employee. Cannibal collector. An obsessive food collector determined not to desecrate his previous victuals resorts to an alarming act of cannibalism. Cannibal collector. Le Masque de la Méduse, a modern-day version of the Greek mythological tale of the Gorgon. Fantasy, horror, and mystery and thriller. Le Masque de la Méduse. The Maze. In the middle of the night, 5 friends break into a corn maze and decide to play a harmless game of tag, not knowing that a psychopathic killer has decided to play along. Notice how they don't show the face? El Monstruo del Mar, the monster from the beach. 3 killer vixens hang out at a seaside cabin, and in the meantime have to do battle with the locals and a deadly creature from the deep. This pays homage to the creature from the Black Lagoon. The Presence. A woman travels to an isolated cabin. She begins to think she is losing her mind when her boyfriend comes to stay. The Presence. The Puppet Monster Massacre. A group of teens are challenged to spend a night in the Wagoner Mansion on the edge of town. Little do they know, the owner has concocted a monstrosity in the basement. The Puppet Monster Massacre. The Rig. In the midst of a tropical storm, the crew of an offshore oil rig must survive the rampage of a creature after invading its undersea habitat. The Rig. The Roommate. A paranormal thriller involving 2 young women who start off as roommates become much more. Roommate. What you don't know can kill you. The Roommate. Shapeshifter. A science fiction film about a doomed love affair between 2 shapeshifters. Next up we have is The Task. A group of reality show contestants must survive the night in a haunted jail. The Task. The thing you'll be requesting for is the warden. The Tenant. A simple man has high aspirations to cure all disease through genetic manipulation. His obsession with his mission draws him deeper into his own dark world. Action, horror, and thriller. The Tenant. Your next breath will be your last. The Village of Shadows. A group of young people are trapped in an evil village. The Village of Shadows. Horror, mystery, and thriller. The Violent Kind. One night at a secluded farmhouse deep in the northern California woods, a small group of hardened young bikers and their girlfriends are tormented, but one of the girls becomes savagely possessed. The Violent Kind. The Final. An awkward student with a deadly vendetta leads a group of outcasts who plot to avenge the years of humiliation they faced by the popular student at Hohenheim High School. The Final. The Last Exorcism. A troubled evangelical minister agrees to let his last exorcism be filmed by a documentary crew. Body horror, folk horror, found footage. The Last Exorcism. The Tortured. An upper middle class couple's life is destroyed when their only child is kidnapped and killed. Obsessed with revenge, the couple seizes an opportunity to kidnap the killer. The Tortured. The Dead. An American mercenary, the sole survivors of a plane crash, has to run the gauntlet across Africa, battling with the living dead. The Dead. The best zombie movie of the year. The Dead. The Presence. A woman travels to an isolated cabin. She begins to think she is losing her mind, but her boyfriend comes there to stay. Now, I may have just done this one, but you're going to get it again. It was that good. You have to see it twice. The Presence. The Reef. We love the reef. A great white shark hunts the crew of a capsized sailboat along the Great Barrier Reef. We love these movies' takes on Jaws. We love Jaws. The Ward. An institutionalized young woman becomes terrorized by a ghost. The Ward. Featuring John Carpenter. The Ward. Maybe you should get a life of your own before it's too late. Triassic Attack. A Native American owner of a kitschy roadside museum accidentally brings to life 3 dinosaur fossils. Now really annoyed, the giant dinos wreak havoc on the small town at the local university. Troll Hunter. A group of students investigates a series of mysterious bear killings, but learns that there is much more dangerous than what's going on. Troll Hunter. Drama, fantasy, horror, and thriller. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's not funny, Evil. Affable hillbillies Tucker and Dale are on a vacation at the dilapidated mountain cabin when they are mistaken for murderers by a group of preppy college students. The Twilight Saga Eclipse. As a string of mysterious killings grips Seattle, Bella, whose high school graduation is fast approaching, is forced to choose between her love for vampire Edward Cullen and her friendship with werewolf Jacob. Two Eyes Staring. Moving into her parents' mansion after she inherits it, a woman, her husband, and their daughter stumble upon a dark and terrible family secret. Two Eyes Staring. Unaware. In July 2010, a vacationing couple discovered something disturbing on a ranch in rural Texas. Armed with a home camcorder, they capture their experience on video. Unaware. Undocumented. A documentary crew accompany a group of illegal aliens crossing the border, but their plans run afoul when they are captured by a gang of sadistic radicals in New Mexico. Undocumented. I want you to go home. Uninhabited. A young couple go to a remote and deserted coral island for a camping holiday, only to find that the island is inhabited by a ghost-seeking retribution for a past outrage. Unrated, the movie. It's about freedom, man. Freedom. The film captures the experience of the original garage-built chopper rally and the culture of infamous biker magazine. Unrated, the movie. Chased outside the world, the dark vampire lord Giovanni flees to the American Southwest, where he sets up a new brood. Vampageddon. Horror. Careful what you wish for. Vampires Suck. In this parody spoof of vampire-themed movies, teenager Becca finds herself torn between two boys. She and her friends wrestle with endless dramas that crescendo at the prom. Vanishing on 7th Street. The population of Detroit has almost completely disappeared, but a few remain. As daylight disappears, they realize that the dark is coming for them. Vanishing on 7th Street. This is a very good movie. Victim. A young man finds himself held captive by a mysterious doctor and his brutish henchmen. Victim. Voyage to Agatis. A wealthy couple of perverts lures a prostitute to a seemingly innocent yacht cruise under the sun. Voyage to Agatis. Horror, mystery, and thriller. The Wolfman. Upon his return to his ancestral homeland, an American man is bitten and subsequently cursed by a werewolf. Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins. The Wolfman will not disappoint. Wound. A woman searches for her mother who abandoned her after being abused. Fantasy, horror, and thriller. Wound. Beware the Beast. Wreckage. Four friends are forced to enter an out-of-town junkyard, and throughout the night, it's all hell and bullets as the local sheriff's men and the kids fight the mysterious killer that is stalking them one by one. Wreckage. Four friends. Dead Rising, the movie. Dead Rising. It's about a woman who goes to a village and dead people start rising and killing people. Those were the best horror films that were released in the year 2010. There were a lot of films here. What were some of your favorite horror movies of 2010? What movies do you want to see from 2010 that were on this list? Obviously, it's not all inclusive, but these were the top rated films, top horror films that were made for TV, straight to DVD, or playing in theaters worldwide. I'm Tony. You're here at Yesteryear TV. That covers now the decade of 2010, 2000 to 2010. We have just a few more videos left. We have 2009 and 2008, and then we are done with all the best horror films of every decade, of every year, up to 2020, starting with 1930. So go ahead and check out my playlist. We have all the horror films that were released for each year, from 1930 up to 2010. Up to 2020 rather. And we have two more videos left for this series. We have the best horror films of 2009 and the best horror films of 2008. And we are done. So stay tuned for those two videos. I'm Tony. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. Thank you for joining me here at Yesteryear TV. And I'll see you all in the next video.